And that's the deck profile, amigos. Until next time. Fudge. I forgot to hit record. Well, there goes 30 minutes of my life. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Let's talk about some Vanguard YouTuber challenges that can occur during your journey of content creation. I will also provide long-term advice that can be applicable to your situation. Keep in mind, this is not a one-size-fits-all, but some suggestions that can help you out. And also to normal viewers, this is helpful to kind of get an insight on what that looks like for a content creator. So I'm sure you'll be able to relate to some degree as well. One of the biggest challenges I see is burnout. So think about your favorite YouTubers that you've had in different areas that may have been content creating for years and now all of a sudden they quit. Or maybe they're taking a long break, or they're not so sure with the situation too, or all of a sudden they just have a breakdown. In terms of even just like Vanguard YouTubing, there's like different varieties of burnout. So what I've seen is also where life happens, and sometimes as you're doing your normal content creation, you have more responsibilities. Maybe you had something important and also drastic happen in your life too, and all of a sudden you feel like there's more pressure when you're creating content, and all of a sudden you feel overwhelmed as well. Another example could be you are actually at it, you're on your content grind, and you've been doing it for weeks, months, maybe even years. And nothing's really bothering you at this point as a content creator, but all of a sudden you get to a point where like, holy crap, I think I'm just out of gas, essentially. Sometimes can be a blocker for ideas. This can be also just like not enjoying the process anymore, or just looking forward to making the next video either. So how do you combat this? And really, it's okay to take a break. And sometimes you may feel resentful of that thought because you have some accountability you built up with your audience too, or you just have these many ideas that you want to make videos, but you just are struggling mentally or even emotionally with this energy that you're trying to push on. It's okay to take a little break too, because this gives you the opportunity for your mind to renew itself and also self-center yourself on why you're creating videos in the first place. You could also take a break by even playing different TCGs or just different video games, or going out with your family, or maybe like have a vacation, going out with friends. Just make sure you have those things to help take a break from that content creation at least. There's also this quote I've heard that it's not necessarily a misconception, but it's not always a one-size-fits-all, is that essentially if you create content that you enjoy, then you'll never burn out. And I think that's actually just very dependent on the individual too, because you do need those breaks here and there, even though you're enjoying it. Just thinking about with other stuff in life, sometimes you're having fun with something, but if you have too much of it or you've been at it for so long, you naturally crave for something else differently, or at least try something else for a while. To share a personal experience this year earlier, I was starting to experience burnout myself. And as of my journey too, I've had different seasons of life when I'm new, barely posting any videos, and more actually competing, to taking an actual break from the game for 2 years, then coming back and making consistent content since 2020, and it is now 2024 for 4 years plus, essentially. And when it comes to Vanguard, I really have 3 buckets. There's the first bucket where I actually spend time having fun, competing for my own leisure, essentially, at events too, regionals. My second bucket is strictly Vanguard content creation. And then my third bucket is coaching, prepping, and also helping students in one-on-one sessions. Since my time started to be a little more limited because of life responsibilities, and my seasonal life has changed recently, I started sacrificing the bucket that actually is more for me, for fun, and also competing for my own leisure. So every time I touched Vanguard, it became either this is for a video or this is for coaching to help somebody else. At first it was fine because I already enjoy these things too. But as I kept doing that and sacrificing the other bucket, I felt like Vanguard was more of a job at this point than actually enjoying the hobby for myself. So I got to the point where like, I need to change something real quickly. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep resenting it and eventually actually burn out. And so I took a little bit of a break from content creation and also coaching, and just focus on myself for having fun decks, playing different formats, different TCGs, and even competing this summer. I started playing legacy formats like G format and even Yu-Gi-Oh! Go. Some recent events and shop challenges too as well. It's reignited my passion for TCGs again. Now I'm back full force the rest of this year with a better perspective and also refreshed. The next challenge is like your personal habits when it comes to YouTube content creation. It's common as you're starting to ask around like what are other YouTubers that you admire do on a day-to-day basis with their YouTube channels. And sometimes you fall into this trap where you're comparing their page 700 to your page 1. That is not fair to you. So just have that in the forefront. You are starting from scratch, especially if you don't have any experience when it comes to making videos on YouTube. And that's okay. You're in a beautiful place because you're going to learn along this process. And it's so important to now focus really what the content you're providing in your actual video. Embrace your style too, because sometimes some people are a little more extroverted, some people are more introverted. I like to speak more like a one-on-one basis with my viewer too. Your temperaments can also play a factor. Just make sure you're comfortable with who you are. And in developing your habits, it can be changing in setting time for recording, editing, and also like you have life still going on. You may have work, you may be in school, you may be single, you may be married, you may have kids, whatever your life situation, it looks different for everybody. But at the end of the day, that's okay because this is your own unique journey that you're going through. Again, don't compare somebody's page 700 to your page 1. That's like the biggest thing. Comparison is the thief of joy, essentially. The next two topics I want to cover, they intertwine a lot, so I'm going to combine them. There's pace and quality, and then there's also controllable goals that you want to set for yourself that are realistic, essentially. So let me explain a little bit what this means. So there's a balance between quantity of videos and also quality of videos. And so obviously you want to make sure you make a video of decent quality, so that way you're not wasting people's time. You're also not wasting your time too on making a crappy video, but also be realistic of the level of quality that you could put into your videos. For example, as a new YouTuber, you're going to focus really on the content that you're providing in your video. There's not going to be flashy edits, flashy effects, fancy equipment like nice mics or nicer cameras. And that's okay too. That's pretty much how most of us started too. In fact, your phone really has like everything that you need to make a video and actually grow a channel too. Since that's out of the way, then you just want to focus as making videos during your journey, whatever is appropriate to you. And I encourage you to do as many as you can with that same passion and that same level of quality that you can still keep up in that season of your journey. The reason for this is because you're going to get better at every single video. You're going to get more practice in. You're going to find your own ways of saying things and also having a bigger impact and also getting more feedback from people in your comments and also getting your name out there in a way which will help you grow not only your channel, but also yourself in creating better quality videos because you'll get more constructive feedback in the long term as well. So if you're in this trap where you're trying to make this perfect video, but don't publish it anytime soon, it's only going to delay your journey. So it's okay to do a good enough video and post it and then continue on to the next one and keep at it until you start getting better every single time. I know for myself, I have to like watch when I overthink things because I am a bit of a perfectionist. And so I have to tell myself, I have to actually tone it down and tell myself, hey, good enough is actually really good already. So just publish it, dude. Another quick tip too, if you have like your phone, you could use a stack of books. If you don't have a tripod, for example, just get a decent angle. Try to record during the day as well because you have lighting from natural light instead of having like a light, like a lamp or even the room itself. I learned this tip from Atlas from Nexus at night, where if you just turn on all the lights in the room, in the associate area, it just looks better overall. And I don't know how the science works, but it does. If you're doing a deck profile, I organize my grade 2s, my grade 1s, and my grade 3s in like individual stacks already right next to me. And so when I'm ever doing a transition of different grades or different cards, I can just easily talk as I transition and put the new set of cards in real time, essentially. This saved me a lot of time early on with editing. And also I used like the YouTuber editor. So I actually didn't use Adobe Premiere at first or any like CapCut Filmora, for example, or DaVinci. So just make your recording process a lot simpler for you so you can just actually make the videos and continue on to the next one. For YouTubers that have more skin in the game, you get to a point where you're developing a habit, but you're also got some good amount of videos out there and you start wanting to grow more. You start hearing the phrase where if you want to, benefit from the YouTube algorithm, you want to post once a week at least, minimum. When I first heard that, I was like, wait, what? Like, I can't even do that right now with my type of videos. I actually take over a week to just get to familiarize with a deck and then do a deck profile, like all these things in my head, right? So it can feel overwhelming. And I'm pretty sure you've been in the same boat for those who have actually been content creating. Plus, like with other life responsibilities, how can you fit everything and essentially have publishing once a week? Even though that's like the YouTube algorithm or recommendations from other YouTubers that are doing that, and some people are doing that like twice a week or even more so, be realistic again with your seasonal life again. You want to make sure you have a good quality video that you want to do and you're excited to do, so that way it comes across well with your audience. If you can only do a video once a month, that's okay. If you can do it every 2 weeks, great. If you have to do it every 2 months, that's fine. I think one of the best things that you can do for yourself is build a pace that you can keep up with. That will help build some consistency, but also more confidence in yourself as a content creator too. You're still getting your reps in, essentially. It's like going to the gym. If you keep going consistently, you're going to feel good about it. You could also be flexible with your goals. So for example, once I was ready to have that once a week, essentially, you can fill it with different types of videos. So be flexible with that. It doesn't have to be like a video that always takes a lot more effort to make. You can do simple as like news videos, metagame coverages at a very high level. Maybe your thoughts on something, like you have a lot of options that you can pick and choose, but make sure you do something that you like and that your audience would even like to hear from you. And also what I did initially too, once I was ready to bridge that gap, was instead of 1 a week, I just said 4 in a month. They sound the same thing because there's 4 weeks in a month essentially. So the average is out to once a week anyway. But I did it where I essentially, if I did 3 videos in the beginning of the month and I did 1 at the very end of the month, I still accomplished my goal. This is why controllable goals are so much more important, because then this is something that you can control. You can control recording, editing, and then of course being able to publish them. To further assist you with that, focus on time management. You may be used to at this point in life where everything is pretty much, you follow a certain schedule, whether you go to school or maybe work a 9 to 5. And so you're so used to like having a set amount of time. And then outside of that, it's kind of free gaming essentially. And if you're not super intentional with your time outside of those like responsibilities, then you may feel like I don't have enough time to fit this in addition, because you haven't really managed your time on your own essentially. And even to those people that feel like, well, I'm actually pretty good with my time management. And so have you actually sit down and see how much time you really have in a single day or an entire week as well? And as a reminder, did you know that you have 168 hours in a week? That seems like a lot if you think about it, if you haven't really thought about it before. So what has helped me is actually on a piece of paper from Sunday through Saturday, draw boxes of all the responsibilities that have to be done, or the things that you want to do, maybe spending time with family, with friends that you do treasure, traveling, or maybe going to locals as well on a weekly basis. A lot of the stuff that you really do every day or on a weekly basis. Note that down first. Then note for times for like driving to work, maybe driving to locals, sleeping, and be realistic with your sleep schedule too. Some people sleep 8 hours, some people sleep only like 5. That's totally up to you. And you fill out those boxes in each day. Everything that's not filled out, now that's really up to you on what you want to do with that time. It could be relaxing. Maybe you're just getting a nap in, or maybe you are playing your video games. Maybe you want to have some leisure. That's perfectly fine. But now you could also see where you can fit into recording, your editing, and publishing, and all those like making a thumbnail, like all those details that you have to go through this journey. And now you can see yourself like, okay, realistically, I could actually get a video maybe once a week, every 2 weeks, once a month. Just depends on the video that you're trying to produce. But this should help you see like, wow, I actually have more time than I initially thought in my head. You could even use this technique for your like other aspects of life. Maybe you want to get working out in, especially if you haven't been to the gym lately. I know I've been like that before too. Especially as you get older, you definitely want to go back to the gym, because the foundation that you build in your 20s will be in your 30s, and then your foundation in your 30s will be for your 40s, and so on. Another tip that I do is mentally prep leading up to the video. And what I mean by that, so if you're driving to work, or maybe you're taking a shower, or maybe you have some idle time essentially, you could think about some ideas of creating an outline for your video. I do an outline of bullet points. I don't go to super detail. I don't have a script. It's just a general outline that I like to follow. So it gives me structure, and it gives me the flexibility of being natural with my points that I'm trying to make. This saves you a lot of time, so that way when you actually sit down to do that video, you could just go. In terms of like a calendar, you can use a physical calendar or even your phone, whatever works for you. I use that to my advantage. I use both. And then I find those pockets of time where I can fit in like, oh, I have 30 minutes here. I can go shoot this video. Oh, I have an hour here. I can probably get some editing in, get it done, or get it close to done. And then later tonight, I have like an hour. I could actually do this, get it published, or schedule it for publishing. So it's those pockets of time. Also with your family or even your spouse, just have a common understanding that you're doing this for a passion. So that way they know that you have to account for these like time frames. And so like, what are you doing with your time? And it's just like, well, I'm doing this with a video or something like that. And they actually have a like, okay, they respect it in that sense too. I spend time with my wife, whether it be watching a movie, going out to eat or something, watching anime, whatever it is that we want to do that night. However, there are nights where we just want to do our individual hobbies as well. So she may be playing a video game, or maybe she's reading manga. And at that time, I actually also use that opportunity to go record a video real quickly upstairs and come back down and then work on editing. And that's one way I can kind of squeeze that into my current day. And at that point, you're not neglecting your responsibilities, but also your enjoyment of outside of content creation while still getting things done. It's a very good feeling to have at the end of the day. Now, you may be asking yourself, like, maybe I need some help with either finances or maybe equipment, and so that's totally up to you. I know other people have their own editors. For myself in this current season of my life, I am a one-man show. So I do everything when it comes to my videos. In terms of equipment, you want to invest maybe to like a tripod or an arm that can go to your table, especially if you're recording somewhere pretty consistently stationary. That makes it a lot more convenient for you to do your recordings too. Also, I found out if you have any if it's a hassle to get your setup every single time for a video, you're also less likely to actually go do it in the first place. So if you make that process as smooth as possible, then more than likely you're going to get that video done. They're pretty small investments for your convenience too, like tripods and arms. One thing that I learned from Different Fight, he mentioned this in a video years ago, that if you were to invest into a mic versus a camera, which one would be the first thing you would get? and he actually recommended a mic. And so that's what I did. I actually got this Yeti Nano that was only $100. The reason for that is because viewers actually would appreciate better audio than a better camera. They can deal with a not so great camera, but if the camera is good enough, the next question is like, is the audio actually decent? If your audio is not that great, then it's kind of hard to like retain viewers at that point too, and it make it harder to drive your point across as well. So if you want to invest into better equipment, the mic would probably be the first step for you. Technology has expedited, especially with the pandemic, so things have gotten cheaper too. Look around. Again, you don't have to spend $400 on a Rode mic, for example, just something that's within your budget, but also has the level of quality that you're looking for that next step for you. Also, video cameras have gotten cheaper too. I remember like a 720p, a 1080p was like 70 to $100 depending on what brand you get, which for the longest I've done these past few years. I recently just got a 4K camera, and that's the one that I'm using right now for $70 too. I was like, wait, what? A 4K camera that's like $70 USD, of course. And I was like, that's actually a really good deal. And it can increase that experience overall. But like, as you can see, it's taking me this longer to get a better video camera too. Fun fact, I built my channel up to like 700 to 800 subs with just my phone. I didn't have like an actual camera. I didn't have a fancy mic or anything like that. It was just my phone at the time that I had. So you can still grow your channel even to 1,000 subs. I could believe it with a phone and you'd be good. That may have been a lot. Let's tone it down back to like controllable goals. As I mentioned, you can see what you can control and what you cannot control too. To a degree, you have a control of the growth of your YouTube channel. So most people would set subscriber goals, maybe views as well. So if like my goal is to reach 100 subs by August or something, or 1,000 or 2,000, 5K by the end of this year or whatever, you may see some growth that it's predictable. And you can see that like if I increase my subscribers 100 subscribers every month, then I'll reach my goal by this date. So naturally, we use metrics like that to pan out our goals. But what I found myself is that YouTube growth for most of the time is slow growth for everybody. If you ask a YouTuber, the one thing that we pretty much have in common is that we wish that our channels would grow even faster than what it is right now, at every level. So if you have a goal that's something that's become more unattainable, for example, if you want to hit like 2K or 5K, 10K by the end of this year, and you keep missing every single year, it is very discouraging. In fact, you're like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? You start doubting yourself, and that's not really where you want to be. So for me, I started recentering myself on things that I could actually control. And that's where I mentioned like you can control the times that you record, you edit, and also the quality of your videos that you put into, and also trying out some things and then use those milestones for you to hit some of those small wins. Essentially, that's what actually makes you feel good, because you feel like you're actually progressing. And as natural human beings, we kind of want to see progression in our life as well. Something that's more visible, more tangible too. And little stuff like that actually does help. You could also spend time like working on ideas, or maybe just learning how to use the software better. I realized that the more I use Adobe Premiere, I had to learn this from scratch, and thank God for YouTube videos to help how to do this, and also Googling like forums and stuff, tips like that. I've gotten better at it, and it's helped me save time with the editing process too. And you'll be very, very, very thankful for that as well, especially if you're still editing your videos. Let's say you've been at it for a while, maybe you got some discouragement, sometimes you get negative comments, whatever it is. Remember your why. Why did you even start doing YouTube in the first place, especially for Vanguard? You already enjoy the game, you're playing the game, whether it be standard, premium, V premium, whatever it is, but now you're making content creation and you got into a little bit of a funk, right? And so you got to remember your why and why you started. For me, I enjoyed watching deck profiles for Yu-Gi-Oh! Very early on. I thought it was super insightful just to hear other people's thoughts, opinions, things that work for them, things that didn't work for them, especially even if it's event coverage, like what is happening in the regional events as well. Videos like that I found valuable, and I was excited to find the next one that was gonna help on the deck that I'm working on with now. So that's why I started my channel and doing deck profiles for Vanguard, because I wanted to do that and give back to the community in that fashion. And I just enjoyed diving into the details of a deck profile too. If you spend the time to recenter yourself with your why, then you're able to better navigate through challenges in your life, maybe seasons of life, or maybe just with like Bushiroad has done some crazy stuff where they rebooted the Vanguard game twice. So that's, you know, like ups and downs. So like, what do I do as a content creator at this point too? But if you remember why, the reason that you're doing this, you'll be able to push through anyway. This was actually a very key factor for me this year, because I remember my enjoyment of actually playing TCGs, which has reignited my passion again for the rest of the year as well. The next point is growing at your own pace. I've touched a little bit too, because you want to compare yourself, like, hey, I want to get to this YouTuber that I admire at this level, or maybe this quality of video, whatever it may be too. But you got to realize that it is your own journey, and you just do it in your own pace. And some seasons you only can produce so many videos, and some seasons you can go at it like an animal. I encourage that when you can and you want to do it as well. But one thing that I want to remind you to focus on as something also controllable goal is get 1% better at every video that you do. 1% is so marginal that it's something that you can see yourself do every single time. It could be maybe the way you communicate. It can be maybe an edit. It could be maybe adding certain animations too. And again, you want to look at stuff for YouTube on how to like save time, maybe like how to record better, maybe how to edit quicker. This will help dictate your pace a little bit to add something that you're comfortable with. There's something that I really realized just a year ago, essentially, and it was a phrase: become great at the things that you're already good at. And so I was like, wait, what? And so instead of like focusing on all the time, all the weaknesses that you're trying to improve and work on, don't forget of all the good things that you know how to do and hone in on that. You could actually really set yourself apart too from other content creators because this is your own strength essentially too. For me, I found that I'm really good at deck profiles. So I decided to hone that even better. Little things that I did is like, can I do what I do in shorter time, but give the same impact? Maybe I could add some seamless card animations to help with the viewer understand the card that I'm talking about while I'm displaying a different card in the moment. Showing off some combo plays or line of plays that are very helpful. I've even approached different videos in different ways because like there's deck profiles that maybe I want to approach it as a guide for a general audience. And there's also deck profiles that I just came from a top and let me explain from that perspective, and also even some matchups that or interactions that did come up in the event too. So again, just get great at what you're already good at. Oddly enough, this may sound like obvious too, but be authentically you. And so what I mean by that, just know how you are as a person, your temperament, and also how you come across with communicating just this game in YouTube. If you're a little more silly, be silly. If you're a little more serious, it's okay to be serious. There's a lot of genuineness and authenticity that comes across, and you can connect with the audience that actually is more like-minded just like you. This will also build a loyal audience over time that you can actually mesh pretty well, and you get even more excited to make videos for people that are excited for the videos that you already make too. And if you want to get silly like I did, I started doing skits in some of my videos too. They were ridiculous. I am not a comedian whatsoever too, but I just wanted to do something ridiculous, and I thought those were fun. I like taking references from animes or even movies or something that fits with the theme too. Like for example, if I'm doing a Grand Blue video, I wear a Grand Blue hat. Sometimes I've dressed up as Jack Sparrow too. Pirates of the Caribbean skits, or even like ninjas with Nubatama with Naruto, or even like something related to demons like Demon Slayer, for example, too. It really just shows more of the the excitement that you have, which actually is well appreciated for the viewers that come across your videos too. And also, like, if you're showing your face in your videos just like I am, then when you go to regional events and also maybe meeting new players online too, they'll be able to recognize you a lot more easier. And so you get a chance to be around your audience essentially and get a chance to know them at a one-to-one level too. And since because you are who you are and act naturally in your own videos, when you have those interactions with those people too, it's natural as well. So that way you don't feel like you're one person in your videos and then you're some type of different personality in person, right? It makes that transition a little bit easier too. Plus you have something in common to talk about because you talk about a certain like clan or a deck or something in Vanguard that you can relate to. It makes that interaction so much natural and smoother. And you can make a friend like that too. Plus you look forward to meeting new people at that point and meeting new friends. Experimentation and feedback too. So don't be afraid to experiment with different types of videos, maybe different types of edits that you're trying to include in your videos, and really have a approach where like just do enough videos to see what you like and what you don't like. I've done an array of video types where like I'm interviewing somebody, metagame coverages, news, changing up the style a little bit too here and there. See what I actually like and also what sticks with people too. You can see the metrics too when it comes to like engagement and views, of course. And perhaps you do it maybe like that one season of life as well, and that's okay too. At least you tried it and see what you like too. This helps also an opportunity to ask for constructive feedback from your audience too. Especially if you've been very consistent for like the past few years, this is really great because your audience pretty much knows you really well with your videos too. So they can give you like the best feedback too. Now, the feedback that I would ask is not necessarily for ideas, because then you don't know, somebody may have like this idea, they're like, hey, you should make a video on this and do that. If you don't even want to do that video, then you're not going to do it as well. So what I would approach it is something that you already have videos that you have in mind that you want to do, but also want to further hone or like refine that idea better too. So that's where you can make community posts or even just comments and ask around, which I've done this year too a lot more. I should have done this a lot sooner too. But it really caters to like, hey, like I'm thinking to talk about this topic about like prepping for a regional. What are some things that you guys would think would be helpful? And really it came out to essentially going to your first regional. That's what the refinement came to be. I also had a poll of like, what if premium ended? What would you do? Etc. So I got some good feedback. I even asked, like, what does the game even mean to you if it's dead? And so that really gave me some common themes that I can actually define that in a specific video, and then even prevent you wasting your time on videos that you think that would perform, but maybe not is really wanted by your audience. For example, I asked one, like, what if premium became a legacy format and we actually created like a modified ban list? Would you guys be interested in something like that? And I got mixed votes on that too. And it's like, at that point, if people were like yes and no, and it's pretty much almost halfway, then really I'm only catering to half my audience. And at that point, maybe I'm better off utilizing my time for the next video idea that would resonate better. And so thank you for like that feedback too as well from my audience, because it saves me time so I could just make the next video for y'all. And really, it's like a win-win too. Like your audience gets an opportunity to also put their input and also their feedback. They want to know if they're being heard too. So you're more connected that way, and they feel also like they took a part of that too. So again, I'm grateful and thankful for my audience for all the constructive feedback that they've given up to this point as well. And of course, the future. So that was a lot. I'll find ways to shorten this a bit too. As I'm recording this actually took an hour, just so you know. But again, for both content creators and also viewers, I hope this was really helpful. I hope this was sharing experiences and also things that I've seen with other content creators, especially when you've been in the, I guess you call this a field, for many years at this point too. Regardless of the changes that Vanguard has had, the ups and downs, and also some of the like, whoa, surprises, you know? So let me know in the comments too, some suggestions or things that has helped you as a content creator, or even just the viewers too, that you may have seen from other YouTubers from different like areas that is not Vanguard related to. If you want to know more of my thoughts on different topics too, check out these videos about premium, or even like prepping for your first regional as well. On to the next one, amigos. Bye.